everyone. Today I figured I would talk about what would have happened if Saab never died. For instance, what would it be like today if Saab were still around? Now obviously the entire planet itself, our whole social structure, everything would be completely different. But all jokes aside, I figured I would do some speculation and let you guys do some speculation and discussion yourselves in the comments section of this video. Before I get started, I do want to mention that I now have a new shirt out, and I do have another Saab themed shirt coming probably in the next few weeks. So if you're interested in purchasing one, I also, besides just the t-shirts, I also have tank tops, long sleeve, and hoodies, and in a few different colors, not just white. So if you are interested, please click the top link in the description. It would mean a lot to me if you guys would, at the very least, check it out. I've ordered a couple myself, like I mentioned in a previous video, but I'm still rocking some other Saab shirts for now. They take a couple weeks to come in. So, what if Saab were still around? What would it be like today if Saab still existed? Of course, Saab still makes airplanes and military equipment and all that stuff, but they no longer make cars like the Turbo X that I'm driving right now. When GM shut down Saab at the end of 2011, so that's been actually about 7.5 years since this video is being made, so it's been almost an entire decade since Saab was officially shut down. So when they were shut down, they really only had 3 models, and really only 2 if we're being quite honest. They had the 9.3, like the one I'm driving right now, and the 9.5. And then of course, to go along with that, they had the 9.4X, of which there's varying numbers on production out there, and someone's going to tell me there was a different amount made, but I think there's somewhere around the neighborhood of 500 in the entire world of those that were made. So pretty much a more rare car than just about any supercar out there you'd see today. If you guys would like to learn more about the 9.4X though, I actually did review one when I was at Saab Owners Convention this past August, so you guys can check out the link up here in the top corner to learn more about that car. But the 9.4X was really just Saab's attempt to get into the SUV game. I mean, they had the 9.7X way back when, but that was based on Trailblazer platform, and you know, although to my knowledge it sold fairly well, it never really caught on. But the 9.4X, I believe, if Saab, we're gonna disregard anything financial related for this video, just to let you guys know, we're not gonna talk about finances at all. If Saab did not have financial troubles, and hence why they were shut down, I think the 9.4X would have had good success. I think that if they had marketed it properly, and a lot of people like to think that Saab didn't market very well, which to an extent I could agree with. I think that if the 9.4X had a chance to live a little bit longer, I think it would have started to sell better, because I think people would have seen how sheerly by the aesthetics, it was such a beautiful car. Same goes for the new generation 9.5. I mean, but both of those cars now, it's been almost a decade since they were released, and both of them, in my opinion and many others' opinions, still look like a new car that could be sold today. So clearly the looks of those have aged well. People have different thoughts about the 9.3, but I think that the new generation 9.5 and 9.4X, had Saab been able to market it better and promote it better, I think that they really would have had a good chance. Unfortunately though, by the time that those 2 cars came out, it was a little bit too late, let's be honest. I mean, at that point, Saab was pretty much done for. So I think that if Saab was still around today, I could really see the 9.4X, especially considering how the demand for SUVs and crossovers is just higher than ever. I think the 9.4X really could be a big seller for Saab, perhaps selling just as well as whatever 9.3 they came out with. And let's go ahead and move to the 9.3 now. I think that the 9.3, now they had plans to release a new 9.3, because by the time that Saab went out of business, the 9.3 that was being sold was already about 8 or 9 years old, so they were due for a new one. They did come out with a new one. I actually did a video discussing that more in depth. It actually had a BMW engine and drivetrain in it, oddly enough, and it was a hybrid, let's not forget that. If you guys do want to learn more about that, go ahead and click the link up here up top and you can see more about that 9.3, the new 9.3 that they had planned. It seems like hatchbacks and bigger sedans are selling better and better as well here in the States. So I think that having that big hatch trunk, kind of like the old generation 9.3 and especially the classic 900, I think that really would have been a big selling point for Saab if that car had come out. A lot of true Saab enthusiasts already didn't like the fact that there's a lot of GM DNA in these last few Saabs, and I think adding BMW to that would have just frustrated more people, but it was a good way for Saab to save money, And with them moving towards hybrids, I think it shows what a lot of car companies are doing right now, which is moving more towards hybrids and EVs. And now it seems like almost every car company has some EV model of some sorts. Of course, we'll go ahead and talk about NEVs now. That's a perfect segue since we're discussing EVs. I think that Saab would have also had an EV of some sorts, whether that be a 9.5 EV, maybe a 9.4X EV, or at the very least a hybrid version of these cars, and of course a 9.3, which was already going to be a hybrid, and then maybe even a fully electric version of that. And I guess we can say that still exists today through the NEVs 9.3, although Saab people have very mixed viewpoints on NEVs and whether or not we should be supporting it as Saab enthusiasts or not. But if you guys have been watching my channel for more than a day, you would know that I am a supporter of NEVs, and I think that they're doing good things. So I think that's where Saab would be right now, assuming that they didn't go dead. Assuming that, you know, we didn't have the recession and GM needed to bail out and Saab kept losing money. Assuming that they could have stayed afloat, I think that assuming they stayed under GM also, we're assuming a lot of things here. I think that that's what their lineup would look like. I think they'd have the 9.5 as kind of their flagship. They'd have the 9.4X as their crossover, which I think would sell a lot of units given current demand. And I think that the 9.3 would have been their entry-level car like it always was, and would probably end up selling the most units total. So just to reiterate again, this is completely ignoring any sort of financial aspects, because clearly Saab was not too well in the financial department. They're like a broke college kid, pretty much, if you could even give them that sort of compliment. And that's not to talk shit about Saab, but I mean, they were always struggling with money. And like I mentioned, the 9.5 and the 9.4X were, at this point at least, would be almost 10-year-old cars. So you would expect a newer version of those to probably have already been released, maybe not for sale yet, but have at least been debuted and all that. So who knows what those would have had in store. I mean, with the new generation 9.5 and the 9.4X and that 9.3 concept, we really had a glimpse into what the future, a reality of what the future of Saab would have been like. But at this point, now that these cars are almost a decade old, we really don't know what would have come after that. So I'm going to end it on that note. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also, go ahead and do me a favor and at least check out the shirt and check out my website. They're linked down below in the description. I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys all next time. Thanks for watching.